Hi guys, first of all, sorry for my period of inactivity, but this should change pretty soon. Then, talking about the tournament, first of all, I played another tournament in the meanwhile, but I had to finish covering this tournament. That's the fourth round, I'm 3 out of 3, and I'm playing as black actually in this game, so let's see what happened. My opponent played d4, and I replied with d5. I tried for a bit of time to play knight on f6 and then to play something like the Ninja Indian or the Queen's Indian, although I don't really love these openings, and I decided to go back with d5. Now my opponent replied with bishop on f4, the London system, and now I play e6, but at the time I used to play c6, which although it is pretty tricky, and if white knows theory, black is going to be in a lot of trouble, to be fair, so it's not a really good play. After he plays e3, I play queen on b6. That's the point of playing c6. You don't want to play c5 then to open stuff, you just want to open this diagonal for the queen and target the pawn on b6. Now you can play queen on c1, b3, but you could also play the move knight on d2. Saying is inaccurate, but I mean this is theory. I can take the pawn, but after that I just activate the rook. I told my opponent new theory about this. I didn't want to go into his theory and risk the position so early on, and I just decided to play bishop on f5, which is inaccurate because I should just take the pawn. Now the point of bishop on f5 though is that I can actually take the pawn now and I don't see a lot of problems, because let's say you play rook on b1, I can just take, queen take, well still rook on b1, well it's not that simple, but at least with the queens I can defend the pawn. I need to move the knight first, but yeah, shouldn't be terrible. My opponent played c4, yeah, now I can play queen take on b2, which I played, and now is even better because you cannot play the on b1 since there isn't the c pawn covering the bishop. I can just take the rook, that's the problem. So yeah, I'm up a pawn. I'm slightly better, although white has a lot of activity in his change, and he decided to take. And after you take back, I think, yeah, okay, you play e4 now. So e4 looks like you're sacrificing a pawn, but if I take with the pawn, I give him the on b1 and he just destroy me. And if I take with the bishop, which is the best move, which I knew, this is just take, pawn take. And yes, I'm up 2 pawns, but not for a lot of time, and I would say white is definitely much better in this position. I know Stockfish thinks he's equal, but if you are a human, good luck defending this. The rook is coming in, the knight is under attack, the queen is coming in, the bishop is coming in, and before you cut so short, it's going to take you quite a while, I will say. But this didn't happen in the game, because after I took the pawn, my opponent decided to take the knight. Now my opponent, I think, doesn't really know this opening, a lot of theory at least, because if you give me this bishop, first of all, with the pieces, this bishop was pretty strong, so it's kinda useless. And if you do this, because you know the knight was defending this, and the point is that you want to check me, first of all, this is covered. Let's say you check me this way, now that I have a rook on b8, I can just play b5. Not to mention that I still have the move bishop on d7, so it's not that I'm going to lose the right to castle. So that move didn't make a lot of sense, and at this point he just decided to play knight on f3. Now I can play e6, although I decided not to play e6, because after I play this move, I give you the move knight on e5. Yeah, exactly. I didn't like knight on d5 at all, because after knight on d5, I mean, this might not work, okay, but you are really getting in. I didn't like this at all. So instead of e6, I just decided to play the move bishop on c2, which is inaccurate, although I think it is a pretty clever move. First of all, you cannot play queen on e2 because you lose the rook. if you play this, we just trade. And I mean, I'm up a pawn, I want to trade. I mean, if I manage to trade, I don't have any problem. Let's say you play this, take, rook take, I go this way. The rook get in, but I have this move, for example. Yeah, okay, you have knight on e5. Let's say I block this first, or they play e6. e6, but maybe even f6. It's not terrible. Yeah, should be fine. Should be fine. Okay, yeah. But instead of doing this, my opponent decided to play bishop on... No, it's bishop on b5 check. Which I saw. And I still was happy with this because this bishop was quite annoying. I mean, the threat of giving a check, you know? I can take it. And after queen take, I'm not really safe. Although I played some piece, I still have a pawn, so it's not terrible. Instead of doing this, apparently I should have just played king on d8. Yeah, and now that I think about it, it totally makes sense, because now you need to move the queen, and with the queens. Yeah, I didn't even think about it. Don't know why. My bad. And yeah, I just decided to take the bishop. And after queen take, I played queen on c6. It's threatening to get in, so this is basically the only move. And yeah, I saw this move. Queen take, pawn take, knight on e5 attacking the pawn, rook on b6 defending it, rook on c1. What happened? You straight up win a pawn. This was the line I saw. You just win a pawn, although I can develop some piece finally. And what can I say? I would say white is better, although it's still playable. And as you can see, my opponent messed up, I messed up too, but this is quite difficult to play for black. That's why I decided to change opening. But yeah, this didn't even happen. I saw this line, apparently it didn't. Because I mean, this just straight up gained the pawn back. Instead of doing this, I just decided to play rook on c1, but since I saw that line, I just thought that trading queens was pretty good for me. And I mean, it is. If you're down a pawn and you decide to play queens, like, you know for a fact that, I mean, you have to know that it is just a bad decision. Doesn't make any sense. You just don't have a strong attack now, and I played the move f6. e6 was better, but f6 to just prevent the knight from getting in. I thought it was a pretty good move. Now you can play king on e2. I don't know why he decided to castle. It's a sort of a beginner move, you know, like, if we don't have queens, you can put the king in the center, because I don't have pieces to attack you, you know. The queen is powerful, but without the queen, the king is not at a huge risk usually. Also, you can just double rooks on the first and on the second rank, so you're not going to have any problem whatsoever. You also have two knights defending your king. There is no way your king is in trouble in the center. But yeah, after they play this, the king just fighter, so in the endgame is going to be a weakness. And I just decided to play e6. What is the point? This pawn is defended now, and I can develop the bishop. I still up a pawn, and life is good. Looks like my position is actually pretty difficult to defend, but it's not even that difficult, to be fair, because I have king on d8. What is the point of king on d8? Well, let's say you go this way. For example, you just lose a foot rook. So you cannot do that. The move you can play is rook on c1, for example, or putting the rook back. At this point, I played knight on e7, and as you can see, yes, he managed to double the rooks. Although this rook is more of a weakness than a good rook, to be fair. My threat is to play knight on c6, and I can win the rook after that, so you need to be careful. Although Stockfish is saying that there isn't this risk. He's saying to play knight on b3, but after they play knight on c6, I guess you have to play this. Or you just take. Yeah, okay, so I was right, it's not a good move. Because let's say you play this. My plan, I believe, is playing Rook on G8, exactly, Rook on G8. Let's say you do nothing. Bishop on D6. Let's say you do nothing, it's just to show you what happens. I can play King on E8. The point of Rook on G8 is that I'm defending the pawn. The bishop covers everything, this pawn is defended, and your rook is trapped. So this was the point, so that if you play rook on f7, I have this combination and it's pretty difficult to defend. My opponent in fact was scared, and instead of allowing me to play this, which makes sense, he just decided to play rook on c2, rook back on c2, which is okay. I played knight on c6, and as you can see now, I have absolutely zero problems. I still have a pawn. I have a 2-on-1 for the endgame. So I'm definitely playing for the win. He played d4, which does not make a lot of sense for two reasons. First of all, I have a knight on b4. Although I thought it wasn't so strong in this position because you can just play rook on c7. Or then you take on a2. Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, I missed knight on before now, to be fair. And the second reason is that I have a bishop. You're not supposed to open the position. You have the knights, so you want to close things. Because at that point my bishop is just bad. Doesn't make any sense. But if you open everything, my bishop just becomes much stronger than your knights. That's the problem, so it's not a really clever decision to open stuff. You have to understand that in this position you are much worse, and you are not supposed to play this for the win. You're supposed to play this for the draw, to hope for the draw, I would say, because this is a pretty bad position. Yeah, I played bishop on d6 since I missed knight on b4, but I'm still much better. Yeah, he decided to take, which again does not make any sense. At this point, I saw knight on b4. Don't know why, I was like, okay, first of all I take, and after that I'm going to play knight on b4. I mean, he decided to take it, I spent like 2 seconds. And I took back. After that I was like, wait, I just had knight on b4. Knight on b4 wins on the spot, yes, it's true, but you know, I'm dumb. Yeah, what is the point of knight on b4? You go this way, it's a fork. You go this way, what was the move? I think this. Yeah, you go this way, I think I can play b5. Yeah, b5 works. But, oh yeah, I can just take the pawn, of course. And let's say you go this way, another fork. So you basically lose any exchange whatsoever, that's the point. But yeah, I decided to take, and now I'm definitely detaining this. So, knight on f1, which is a good move. I had to say, then to without the knight and to win this pawn. Make a lot of sense. I played rook on e8, and after this I calculated that I just have the move. Yeah, knight on b4 now, of course, and then bishop on f4. So you cannot take, because first of all it is defended, but even if it wasn't, your rook is hanging, so you cannot take. 8-3, which blunders the fact that I can take the knight with the rook, which I didn't see at all. Like, let's say you take this way, or rook, yeah, and you take this, I just take, oh yeah, I take with check, I move, take, knight take, I played everything basically, and I'm up, what, 2 pawns? Yeah, I'm up 2 pawns in this endgame, which is obviously dead lost. Yeah, beautiful. Didn't see that, of course. Doesn't surprise anyone. And I just decided to take instead. Obviously, if you take, you lose the rook, so now you have to take with the pawn. I cannot take because the knight is hanging, so knight on c6. Now this pawn is hanging, you need to do something about that. And he played king on f2. I played rook on c8, makes sense. Just going to take control of the diagonals, and then I'm going to play king on d7, just connecting rooks. Again, zero problems. I still have a pawn, and also this pawn just blocks these two. This pawn is incredibly strong, to be fair. This pawn is just blocking the knight, so playing the move f6 I have to say wasn't a bad decision at all, and I have a 2-on-1. He played knight on h4, trying to level out the knight in order to attack me somehow, but I calculated this move and I understood that the move knight on f5 doesn't make any sense. You just don't have a single threat basically, because after I play king on e7, okay, play this first, b6, and you play knight on f5, I can just play g6. If you play knight on g7 attacking the rook, you actually lose the knight. So yeah, he decided to go back. And now f5. What is the point of f5? You basically have only one source of counterplay, which is playing these and these. Like, you manage to play this push. Let's say I didn't play f5, and then you push this pawn, and you might cause some problem. If I play f5, good luck pushing this pawn. Like, it's covered by 2 pawns. There is no way you can push this pawn. So yeah, I am in a really good shape. It's great to do without the knight again. Now the threat is going there and attacking the pawn, although it's not a huge threat. I can just move the king, for example, and I have 0 problems. I played knight on a5. The point is that I want to get in and destroy him, and now I played rook on d3. The point of rook on d3 is not really explainable. To be fair, I didn't understand rook on d3 at all. The only thing it does is just allow me to play rook on c2. And after you play this, rook on c8. You kinda have to trade, I take, and now remember that my plan, since I'm up a pawn in this position, I have a 2-on-1, so you need to consider the structure. 2-on-1 is beautiful. I can make a pass pawn pretty easily. My plan is trading everything, because if I can trade everything, obviously the endgame is winning. And if I cannot trade everything, I can still win pretty easily if I just trade rooks. Take in mind that endgame with just knights, if you're up a pawn and your opponent has a knight and you have a knight, are pretty easy to win. So you should be in a pretty good shape. My opponent played rook on c3. What I did was just grab this rook. I don't even need to think about this. Like, this is inaccurate. It's still -4. The point is this. And if you let Stockfish think, it's going to be much more. Definitely much more. Yeah, -4, but it's going to grow. The point is that, I mean, it is just a lost endgame. You cannot do anything at this point. This pawn is a weakness, is a huge weakness. This pawn is a huge weakness. I'm going to push these two and I just win. So I played king on c6, defending the pawns. Also, keep in mind that my king is closer. That's why you should have played king on e2 in the middle game, because now your king is just too far. You cannot do anything about that. So as you can see in the endgame, that's pretty important. He played a4 and now I decided to play a6. a6 is saying is inaccurate, but Stockfish cannot calculate, probably doesn't understand endgames. So if you let him think, probably he's going to say, yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. So yeah, he played king on e2 and I played knight on c4. It's going to leave without the knight and to do something, but again, you have absolutely nothing. Okay, this might be annoying, so I can just play a5, blocking your knight. You're threatening to get in, so I can just play knight on d6. So as you can see, this knight is pretty good, is covering everything, and now I can finally push and make a pass pawn. That's my plan, and I mean, it is a pretty good plan. He played h3, trying to go for counterplay, but it's too late. It's definitely too late. I played b5. You take, I take. Now, first of all, you don't trade knights. That's the first thing. If you trade knights, I mean, instead of doing that, you can just resign. It is pointless. If you want to opt for something, you can play knight on a4, which is actually annoying. Knight on a4. Let's say at this point I play knight on d6, you have this move knight on c5, and you are trying to get in. Now it's still completely winning for me. Although, after they play king on b5 and you play knight on, let's say this way, I play a4, so obviously he's completely winning, but at least, you know, I can mess up somehow. I don't know how, but I could somehow mess up. What my opponent did, although was a really bad decision, he played king on d3. The fact is that if you allow me to play nice, it's just a king and pawn endgame, and I'm up a pawn. I mean, everyone can win. This is the easiest endgame ever. So I played king on b5. He's going to go for counterplay. Now again, you need to think in every situation. Even if it is completely winning, you cannot just play too fast and blunder everything. And that's the thing that I learned the many games, and that's the thing that I keep doing though, but not as much as I did before. If you have time and the position is completely winning, just think a bit about any sort of counterplay that your opponent has. The threat is that if I take, he can play this and try to make a pass pawn. This doesn't work at all. Doesn't work. Although, if you just want to be sure, you just don't have to take. You just don't. You can just play a4. And now, if he takes, at this point he has absolutely nothing because I can take with the f-pawn. So, if you don't give your opponent any chance, you just win with zero problems. What is the point of winning with a lot of problems, you know? Yeah, I just decided to push, but again, doesn't do a lot. I just played b3. And you might say, well, but you are losing a pawn, right? Yes, I'm definitely losing a pawn. I played a2. I lost the pawn. Although there is a problem that your king is too far. And after you play this, I can play a king on d3, and my opponent resigned in this position. And the reason why he resigned is pretty simple. Is because, let's say you play this, I win a pawn. Let's say you play this, you are defending it. Great. Now you don't. So let's say you play something like this, which is the best move somehow. I'm up 2 pawns. In this endgame, I believe I can win this. You know? It's going to be pretty simple. So that's why he resigned. And yeah. And 4 out of 4. This was actually a pretty good game. It was difficult in the opening because my opening choice was bad. But this, I think, is a great example on how to convert your material advantage. So trading into a certain endgame and then playing the endgame in a certain way that, I mean, you're going to win with no problems. So yeah, I think this game was actually pretty instructive. So that's it for today, guys, and see you with the next video, last round of the tournament. If I win the round, I win the tournament.